I was supposed to have this thing done today, but so many others have gotten in the way. There were friends to be sought and fish to be caught, and now I forgot what I was going to say. This corny limerick describes what California Polytechnic State University's website, in an article called Procrastination, calls grasshopperism. The feeling that whenever you've got something important to do, it's best to have your fun first. All work and no play makes a very dull day. Did you know that 9 out of 10 of us here today likely suffer from some symptoms of grasshopperism? According to Cal Poly University, 95% of the population is affected by procrastination. But as you can see from the following chart, only about 15 to 20% of us really know how to do it right. Therefore, fellow procrastinators, as the leaders of tomorrow, we must show the world how it's done. The first rule is to start at the last minute. This is usually quite some time away, so while you putter around waiting for the last minute to arrive, you must think of ways to avoid thinking about it. One of the most effective ways is to simply ignore it. Maybe it will go away. If not, try hemming and hawing about it for a couple of days. This is usually very effective, especially if you can convince yourself that the assignment is terribly boring. Whatever you do, never let a looming deadline destroy your peace of mind. A May 2002 MIT study called Procrastination, Deadlines, and Performance, conducted by Dan Ariely and Klaus Bertenbrock, concludes 2 very important points about deadlines. 1, they cause you stress, and 2, they're no fun, as you can see by the following chart. Besides, there's still plenty of time to get it done later. Right now, you're too busy with more important things like watching TV. Only Robinson Crusoe had everything done by Friday, and he didn't have distractions like TV. You work best under pressure. You must, because somehow every time you wait until the last minute to get something done, you get a respectable grade on it. It's no wonder our friends at Cal Poly acknowledge that the procrastinator is often remarkably optimistic. Procrastination is not without controversy, though. So if you're determined to become a top-rate shilly-shallyer, you must also be prepared to defend your position. One of the most common criticisms you will face is the claim that at the rate you are going, you will never get any assignment done. Responding to this, all you need to say is, good things come to those who wait. Or you could quote Zig Ziglar's famous poem, you remember the one? The bride, white of hair, stooped over her cane. Her legs, uncertain, needed guiding. And across the church aisle, with a big, toothless smile, the groom in a wheelchair came riding. Who is this elderly couple thus wed? You'll find if you've closely explored it, that this is that rare, most conservative pair who waited till they could afford it. So while dates and deadlines may come and go, you will always be around to eventually do what needs to be done. If, however, the pressures of anti-procrastination begin to interfere with your lifestyle, you could resolve to one day become a member of the Procrastinator Society for moral support, if they ever get organized. A very wise yet unknown individual once said, if it weren't for the last minute, I would never get anything done. So let us now assume that the last minute has finally arrived. You are not at all in the mood to tackle this assignment. Maybe you could paint the house, or volunteer for a free root canal. But then again, you might just as well go ahead and have a look at it. At this point in time, it is not unusual to discover that the assignment looks much tougher than you remembered. This is the moment that separates the true procrastinators from the posers. Will you keep your composure, or will you become an emotional wreck and succumb to permanent anxiety disorders and spend much of your formerly blissful time on an uncomfortable couch getting your head shrugged? The current trend in these situations is to put off everything that doesn't require immediate action, as the next chart shows. Which even at this late date is okay, since you still have a few hours left. The longest minute in our reckoning of time, after all, is always the last one. When you finally put pen to paper, do what your composition teacher taught you. Write without lifting your pen until you run out of thoughts. Then cut, copy, and paste until somehow you manage to make it all relevant to your topic, and presto, you have a speech. There are still a few last minutes left to work on your delivery before you go live with it. If when presenting your speech you find you are not nearly as familiar with it as you should be, don't panic. You are sure to experience a few bumps in the road no matter how prepared you are. And even a hopeless procrastinator can come up with ways to smooth them over. For example, if you have a mental block every time you look up at your audience, just say, in other words, and restate the last point a little differently while you try to find your place. If you have followed these instructions faithfully, congratulations. You are on your way to a respectable grade, and even more importantly, to a lifetime dedicated to pussyfooting around, which, as we all know, is the only way to have your cake and eat it too.